you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with your child? And she answered, it is well. Romans 8:28 declares that all things work together for the good of those who love God according to his purpose. I know, I promise you, I'm not going to keep telling you, tap your neighbor, but initially I do want you to say neighbor.
Neighbor.
Come on, say neighbor.
Neighbor.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Maybe that you weren't convinced. Say neighbor, it's all good. It's all good. Have you ever tried to make sense of why certain things happen to you in life? One moment it seems like everything is going all right, everything is going swell, and then in an instant it seems like the next thing you know, everything around you is in an uproar. It seems as though when it begins to rain, it starts to pour, one thing after another. Before I can completely come out of one thing, it seems like that there is another thing staring me in my face. And then I begin to ask God a question. I begin to not just ask God why, but I begin to say, God, why me? God, why me? Why have you chosen me to go through certain circumstances and certain pain in my life? And God, not only why have you chosen me for this, but God, why have you chosen me for this and I'm not prepared, nor am I ready to go through the pain that you have ordained for my life? And we begin to say, God, what did I do to deserve something like this? What did I do to deserve something like this? And you begin to have a conversation with God and say, God, I know I'm not the greatest person in the world, but if you look down the street, there's somebody more worse than me. Why aren't they going through what I'm going through? Why is it always that pain seems to always find me? Why is it that every time I turn around, it's not my friend that's going through, but it's me that end up being in a hurtful place in my life. And I get to the point that I say, God, I just can't take no more. God, I know the people in the church are telling me to hold on. The people in the church are telling me just to trust you. But how do you trust God when you can't understand? How can you trust God when you've been praying and there has not been a response from God? So what is it you do when heaven is silent? Do you give up? Do you throw in the towel? And sometimes we get to the point that I don't want to hold the family together. I don't want to hold it together. I just want to explode. But then you realize, you come to your senses. And you realize sometimes I hold it together because there is somebody else depending on me to make it. People of God, there's somebody depending on you to make it through this. The only reason why some people in your life survived some things was because you survived it. And they're currently watching you to see what your next move is going to be. If they see you can give God praise in the midst of the storm, they'll lift their hands and say, God, I still thank you. If they can see you smile when you have every right to be crying, they'll put a smile on their face and say, God, I still thank you. I dare somebody say, it's all good. It's all good. And you say, God, I know that people are depending on me to make it. I know that there are some people who are watching my every move. Don't you know that some things that you go through is not even for you, but it's for somebody else to come out? Don't you know that there were some family members who got saved by watching your life? Don't you know that there are some people who did not give up because you did not give up in the midst of adversity? I did this so that somebody else could live, so that somebody else could live. I can imagine if Charles was here, he would say that if it would cause you to live, I would do it all over again. Would you do the same thing in your life all over again if it caused somebody else to live? Some things I have to sacrifice in my own life just so my neighbor can live, just so my sons and daughters shall live. But I declare like Job, after this I shall
shall live. I still shall live after this. Here in this particular text, we started where this woman, she just simply said, it's all well. And when she spoke that it all well, her son had just died. God had promised her 1 year ago